George's Road in Brighton, Bravo November 2, 1 Echo Alpha. Before we continue, could I just ask the councillors on the panel to elect a chair amongst themselves, please?
I'm happy to nominate Councillor Sykes.
And I'm happy to second that.
Councillor Sykes, you are the chair for this hearing.
All right, great. Thank you very much, councillors. Okay. First of all, we have some procedural business. So amongst the panel, any declarations of substitutes? Don't think we have. No. Declarations of interest? Nope. Great. Thank you very much. Exclusion of press and public. There's no non-public items on the agenda, so we will not be excluding press and public. And Sarah is here. So we're being webcast and in an open session. So this is an application for a new premises license for the Vineyard, 120 St George's Road. And before I begin, can we'll just do a round of introductions, please, if that's all right. So I'm going to work my way around my screen. So my name's Councillor Roddy Sykes. I'm chairing this panel. I'm on the licensing committee. Let's go to the other councillors first. So Samir and then Ivan, please.
Lovely, thank you, Ollie. So Samir Begin, councillor for Westdean and Hove Park, and a member of the licensing committee.
Thank you.
Morning, everybody. Councillor Ivan Lyons, also Westdean and Hove Park, and member of the licensing committee.
Thank you, councillor. So I'm going to go around the screen. James and then Emma, please.
James can't introduce himself because he's webcasting.
Oh,
He's
right, yeah, okay, sorry. Emma and then Rebecca.
Hi, I'm Emma Grant, licensing officer, presenting the application this morning.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Siddell, legal advisor to the panel.
Thank you. Mark and then Sarah, please.
Good morning, Mark Wise. We're applying for the licence.
Thank you. Sarah.
Good morning, Sarah Booker-Lewis, local democracy reporter for Brighton and Hove, representing the majority of news media in the city.
Thank you. Frankie and then Leonardo, please.
Yes, Frankie Mitchell, Democratic Services. I'm clerking this meeting.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Leonardo. I am one of the neighbors of the premise, and I raised some concern about the license.
Thank you. Finally, Tim and then Eleanor, thanks.
Hi, I'm Tim Hall. I'm one of the applicants for the license. I'm applying for the license.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Eleanor. I'm one of the neighbouring residents who's also got some concerns.
Thank you very much. Okay, that's introductions. We all know each other. So I'm now going to hand over to the licensing officer, Emma, to introduce the application.
Thank you, Chair. This application is for a new premises licence for the Vineyard, 120 St George's Road, Brighton, for the sale of alcohol from 1000 to 2300 hours, Monday to Sunday, and New Year's Eve until 1 AM. The proposal is for a licensed restaurant, wine bar and wine shop. The premises has approximately 60 covers on the ground floor, along with a wine shop and restaurant. The basement has another bar area with approximately 40 covers, and a garden at the rear has space for another 40 or 50 people. There have been 2 representations to the application from local residents. The representations received had concerns relating to the prevention of public nuisance, and these can be found in the Appendix C of the agenda. The police have agreed conditions with the applicant, and these can be found in Appendix D. The premises does not fall within the council's cumulative impact area or special stress area. The statement of licensing policy includes a matrix approach for licensing decisions, with provisions for a terminal hour for all classes of licensed premises in a particular area. The matrix model recognises the diverse operation and different risks presented by different classes of licensed premises. It provides a vision of what the licensing authority would like to see within its area and gives an indication of the likelihood or success or otherwise to investors and local business making applications. The matrix on page 10 of the agenda states yes to restaurants outside of the cumulative impact area or special stress area until midnight, and for off licenses until 11 PM. The panel must now consider the proposals and the representations. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Emma. So after each statement or representation, we have a round of questions from everyone. So first of all, I'll go to the panel. Any questions from councillors to the licensing officer?
Not for me.
No, and nothing from me either. Thank you, Ellie.
Okay, thank you both. Any questions from residents making the objections to the licensing officer?
Sorry, is this questions for the people who are requesting the license, or questions to the council?
This is, sorry, I should have sort of outlined the process at the beginning. Basically, we go through representations from each party after an introduction from the licensing officers, and after every either sort of intro statement or representation, we do a round of questions back to the person who made that statement or representation. So I'm just following the process. We've had the introduction from our licensing officer, Emma, and so I'm just asking whether there's anything that Emma said that's not clear that you want clarified, but then we'll go on to the other representations. So, you okay with our licensing officer's intro? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Right. So now we go to our residents. We've had two representations on this application. So who wants to go first amongst Leonardo and Eleanor? You can speak to your representation if you'd like to.
I'm happy to go.
Or if one of you is representing both of you, or we can make time for both of you to say something. So go for it, Leonardo.
I'm happy to go first. As I seem to understand that you can read our representation in the like somewhere, but yeah, we I'm particularly concerned about the level of noise, like the area where we live and where the premise is applying for a license is already quite quite a loud area, especially like in the evenings. We've got pubs, like a corner shop just across the street from the place where the license is being applied for. There is just a couple of doors down Cafe Rust, which is often like open in the evening for like private event, and like my house is at the kind of like center of all these businesses, and basically the garden of the premise is right, like it faces, our bedroom faces right the back of the over there, like where the garden of the premise is. So we were concerned about like noise level and in general like the behavior of potentially slightly intoxicated people that would leave the premise, because it is quite not a rough area, but like the police has to intervene quite regularly, like on the street. So we were just concerned that another premise selling alcohol was not gonna make the situation better.
Okay. Thank you, Leonardo. Eleanor, do you have anything to add to what Leonardo said?
Yeah, I think the only thing that I've got to add is me and Leonardo live together. In our flat where it's situated at the moment, our living room gets a lot of noise pollution from Rust and the Kent, which is a pub which is basically opposite us. And the only room in our home where we don't have noise pollution to a significant level is our bedroom, which would be very obviously impacted because of the location, especially with the garden part of the new premises. So I think we're really in fear that if this license is granted, that there are going to be loud, potentially intoxicated clientele there in the garden. We're not going to be able to sleep, and there'll be nowhere in our flat at that point where we will be able to have any kind of silence or peace, which will ultimately have the impact of forcing us out.
Okay, thank you very much. Obviously, we've yeah, just to go back to the beginning of this section, we've all read the papers, we've read your representations, but it's good to also hear you talk to those. Right, any questions from the panel for the residents?
I,
No.
Ollie, just ask Eleanor and Leonardo how long they've lived there for, because I believe this was a restaurant stroke something else before that. So yeah,
we've lived in this flat particularly since March,
okay.
but we've been in the area. Oh, we've been in Brighton for years and years. We've been in Kemp Town specifically since February 2024, I think.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. No, it's the March date was the one I was after, because obviously it's the place has been shut. Probably it was shut when you moved in. So just trying to get a sense of that. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Councillor Lyons, anything from you?
Yeah, it may not necessarily be to Eleanor, but how many do we know how many flats overlook the garden, the premises, or I can picture the front of the building, but not the sides and the back. Do we know?
I mean, I can help for our building, and I know that basically we've got 3 flats in our building that basically overlook the garden, and then I know that our neighbor's building also have like a little terrace, and I don't know exactly what room faces the garden, but I know that they've got like opening towards the garden, and then we can't really see past the building right next to us, but there are like a few other like apartments and places where people live that are all kind of like directly facing the garden. On the other like side, kind of like across from the garden, there is like quite a big building, but I'm not sure, like we can't see any windows. I'm not sure how many, but like there are quite a few like either directly above the garden or like right across.
Okay, thank you.
I think looking at a map, there's probably a few sort of upper floor flats, isn't there, sort of overlooking that rear element, which probably includes the garden. I had a question about. I mean, you mentioned police. I mean, what is that in relation to this venue previously, in relation to some of the other venues in the street? I mean, what's the? Could you elaborate on that?
So
police
as
intervention.
I think as Mr. Lyons was saying, like I think it was the venue that was there before had already been closed by the time we moved in. So not because of that, but there are frequently police like right outside the camp. Obviously, it wasn't us that called the police, so we're not sure exactly what the what the reason why the police was called, but it is a frequent occasion. So and it's usually we can see that there is intoxicated people like creating shouting and fighting. So we assume it's because of that.
Okay, Okay. All right. Thank you. I don't have any additional questions. So if there's nothing more from councillors, can I go to the applicant? Do you have any questions for the resident, Mr. Wise, Mr. Hall?
No.
No? Okay. Right, in which case we'll now go to the representation from the applicant, please. Who's going to speak for the applicant?
Tim, do you want me to do that?
Okay. Thank you.
Well,
Thank
I mean,
you, Mark.
we've got the license, as you've seen. Tim and I have both been in the hospitality business for over 20 years and had a variety of businesses. So we fully understand the licensing objectives and what we require to abide by them. In this premises in particular, it's essential for the business to work, to utilise the garden. But in terms of keeping noise down, we, as I say, are experienced and well-trained staff will, where possible, keep people as quiet as possible. We don't intend to play any outside music. And where possible, we'll have table service to keep numbers to a minimum and people as civilised as possible. Beyond that, I'm not entirely, that's where we are.
Okay. Thank you. Obviously, we have the application and the details in there, and we also understand that there are some conditions agreed with the police, and we've all got sight of those. Thanks for your representation. Any questions from the panel for Mark? Yep, Councillor Lyons.
Thank you, Chair. So my understanding, the business is not yet opening, is it? It's not yet operating.
No, that's correct. We obviously need to get the license before we can sign a lease, as it's an essential part of our business.
Okay. And you alluded to earlier having previous businesses. Any businesses of similar nature in Brighton or Hove?
My last business was a wine merchants and bar called Nine Vines in Hove, which is still trading. To give you an idea of the type of business we run.
Okay, thank you. And you mentioned about the music in the garden. So you're not planning on having any live music in the garden?
No.
Okay. In terms of the garden, I'm trying to picture because I don't think you've got a website yet, so I couldn't see. How many people can fit in the garden? What's the capacity?
As it's configured currently, I would say 50 sat down.
50 sat down, okay. And the plan for the garden is to be open?
Open, well, at the same time as the premises itself. So we're applying for a license from 10 until 11 p.m.
Yeah. Okay. And in terms of the buildings itself, so obviously, what's the capacity for the ground floor? And you've also got a basement as well?
Yeah, so currently there are 60 covers on the ground floor. The basement is an area which we haven't configured entirely, but I would imagine capacity is something like 30 to 40.
Okay. And my last question at this moment is, would you consider shutting the garden earlier than say an hour earlier?
To be perfectly honest, these are really hard times in our business, and we need to utilise the space as much as is possible. So that would have a negative impact on our plan for sure.
Okay, all right. Okay, had to ask the question.
Yeah,
fine, thank you. No more questions at this stage. Yeah.
Could I make a point, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, go for
it. Just one thing I just wanted to say in terms of a bit of context is that this premises has been a licensed hospitality premises for, I think, 20 years or something in that region. There have been a number of operators in the premises, all of whom have been licensed and using the garden. The only reason that we're applying for the license is the previous operator closed their business and simply didn't apply to extend the license. And I think the objection, the people who are understandably objecting have moved into the premises during that lapse where there hasn't been a license. So I suspect the reason that all of the other residents haven't objected is because they have lived in those premises when it has been trading as a hospitality premises, which is really the only way that premises can be viable commercially. I just wanted to make that point.
Okay.
Thanks for that.
So, okay, thank you.
Anything more, Councillor Lyons?
No. So my understanding, just finally, is that the emphasis for outside will be on food. Is that correct?
It's a combination. We have a full kitchen, and food will be available all the time. But obviously, we want people to be able to just have a drink if that's what they want.
Okay, thank you. No, sorry, no further questions.
Okay, Councillor Begin.
Lovely, thank you, Councillor Sykes. I had a question, which is whether the garden was previously open, and I think I've just had the answer to that question from Tim. So thank you, Tim. Can I pick up this issue of substantial food available at all times, as it's kind of outlined in the conditions from the police, because that talks about hot food options and a table service. Clearly, the premises will be called the Vineyard. So is it a wine bar or is it a restaurant? And what does substantial food available at all times mean to you at this point? Just to get a sense of, is it a restaurant where you can have wine, or is it a wine bar where you can eat? So just trying to kind of get clarity on that, please.
Well, it's a combination of both. We have a full kitchen, and we will be offering an entire restaurant menu in association with a current business called Wild Floor that operate in Hove. They are a restaurant that you may or may not know, but they will be helping us with the kitchen.
Okay, fantastic. And that's a full menu, you said, Mark.
That's correct.
Just to be sure. Fantastic. Something in the conditions from the police about vertical drinking permitted in the garden, but I understand it's not permitted inside. So inside it's table service, vertical drinking available in the garden.
That's correct. Inside is table service, and the garden, just because of the nature of the garden, there are certain areas which it's almost impossible to have seating. So they've allowed that. But we've had various conversations with the police and as you saw, added various conditions into their license.
Okay, fantastic. Do you have any space for any tables in the garden, or is it all vertical?
No, it's primarily table service.
Primarily table service.
Yep.
Excellent, fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thanks for that, councillors. I've got a hand from Leonardo. You've had your go, but I'll let you have a question. So go for it.
Yeah, no, sorry. I just wanted to double check because, I was getting a bit confused because at the beginning it said that it was gonna be mainly table service on the outside, and that was like one of the things that they were aiming to do to minimize disruption to the neighbors. And now it sounds like it's gonna be a mixture of the two. So I just wanted to have a bit more reassurance in like the way that they are gonna try and minimize noise level and disruption.
Okay, I think it's a fair question. Applicant, would you like to answer that?
It is, as I said, that it's primarily table service. That's our business model, and that's the way we'd like to run it. There are just certain areas where we can't fit tables, so people will be standing, but that will be, I don't know an exact percentage, but 10%, something like that.
Well, if I understand the question, it's partly around how you will encourage those particularly sitting in the garden to be respectful and aware of the immediate neighbourhood through signage, through people providing advice, and anything more you want to say on that?
Yeah, so obviously we'll have the signage as is standard, but I think the main thing is having experienced staff that can help to manage the situation.
Okay, all right. Eleanor, I'll let you come in.
Yeah, hi. In terms of noise reduction planning, what's been said it seems pretty minimal, like well-trained staff and having a sign. Like we can tell you as residents in the area with other similar businesses around that having experienced staff and a sign doesn't do a lot, especially with intoxicated customers who aren't likely to read a sign. You mentioned training your staff. So what is actually going to be in that training in terms of keeping people, your customers, respectful and quiet so that it's not causing significant disruption to the residents? Like, what is actually going to be trained?
Well, in terms of managing a garden, it's obviously not letting people get overly intoxicated. That's one of our objectives.
Is that all the training?
What would you suggest?
Well, that's my question to you. I'm not running a business where I need to think about the lives of residents and not being too loud. That's not something that I personally have to think about for my job role. So it's more a question for you who does have to think about it and who does have to think about local residents. Like, what is that training going to be? Because you mentioned training. So,
well, I think Tim and I have spent over 20 years each in this business and never had any complaints over businesses we've run. So I think our record speaks for itself.
So there isn't any specific training that's been thought of prior with how you're going to ask your staff to keep noise levels down. You're just expecting them to sort of like come in and know to tell people when they're being too loud.
Yeah, and I think that's sensible, isn't it? I'm not entirely sure what.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'd agree.
Okay, I think the question's been answered. I think I'm just looking at my order of play. So we've had questions from the panel for the applicant. Yeah, sorry, I was now supposed to go to the applicants. Apologies, but we've got into that. We'll finish with questions from the applicant to questions from the residents to the applicant. So Leonardo, you've got a hand, I think, still, or is that an old hand?
Sorry, that was a legacy hand.
Okay, so we've had a round of questions from the panel to the applicant and from the residents to the applicant. So can I just check that there are no further questions? I don't have any additional questions myself. Just quickly check with councillors. Anything more from you? No?
Nothing further, Chair.
Okay, thank you. And
just one further question for me,
okay.
Chair, if I may. We've heard from the applicant that they're not planning on any live music. Can the applicant confirm, are they planning any entertainment or any entertainment which may include music or may not include music?
It's not part of our plans.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
No further questions, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Can I just double check any further questions or comments from the residents to the applicant?
If the licence is granted, what is the planned opening date, roughly?
We'd be looking to open somewhere around March.
Okay, thank you very much. We're now going to move to a round of summaries. You don't have to provide a summary if you don't want, but we'll first of all go to the licensing officer, and then to the residents, and then to the applicant. So this will just be summaries, no further follow-up questions after those summaries, and then we'll go to our legal advisor for any closing comments from them. And then we will adjourn. So if we could start the summary bit with some words from Emma. Thank you.
Thank you. The panel has now heard from all the parties. The concerns of the residents was potential noise from the premises. The following measures were discussed: police visiting the area in response to problems, proposed measures to control noise levels in the garden, including signage and experienced trained staff. The applicant confirmed there would be no music in the garden, and the proposal was to open the garden until 11 p.m. The applicant was asked whether they would consider closing the garden earlier. It was confirmed that food would be available at all times, but they would also be serving alcohol to customers. The applicant was asked for clarity on whether it was a restaurant that served wine or a wine bar that served food. The proposal is for vertical drinking to be permitted in parts of the garden. Licensing Guidance 9.37 states that in determining the application with a view to promoting the licensing objectives in the overall interest of the local community, the licensing authority must give appropriate weight to the steps that are appropriate to promote the licensing objectives, the representations, including supporting information presented by all the parties, licensing guidance, and the Council's statement of licensing policy. It's important to note that each application will be given individual consideration on its own merits. Thank you.
Ollie, you're on mute.
You're on mute.
Sorry. Rookie error. Eleanor or Leonardo, is there anything you would like to say in summary?
Yeah, just that I think I can summarize for me and Leo. We have only been here since March, but the noise level that we experience in our flat is already, as we put in our letters to you, pretty intolerable. And just because we've been here since March doesn't mean that, you know, we're not capable of understanding how noise travels and how it will travel, especially from the garden area, which will go straight into our bedroom. And we really hope that the council gives appropriate weight to the comfort of residents as well as the prosperity of businesses.
Thank you very much. Rebecca, were you just telling me I was on mute, or is there anything to add at this point?
No, just through you. I wanted to just check the opening times with the applicants because they're the same as the licensable activity times. Is that right?
Correct.
So you would be closing the premises by 11?
Yeah.
At 11. And that includes the garden, obviously includes the garden area, but it wouldn't, yeah. Okay, I just wanted to absolutely check that. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Rebecca. Right, had a summary from the resident, thank you. So summary from the applicant, please. Is Mark going to speak for you?
I don't have anything else to add.
Anything to add, Tim?
Yeah, I did just want to address one point that Eleanor raised, which is about the training around noise management. I've had a business previously with 14 quite similar hospitality restaurants and with very large outside spaces, and much of it is subjective. So to an extent, one relies on a quality manager. So the general manager in the premises that we're looking to hire at the moment is extremely experienced, and one of his roles will be to manage noise. We know we're in a residential area, and those residents are our customers. So it's extremely important to us that we maintain good relations with all residents, and part of the manager's job will be to ensure that noise levels are kept under control. And Eleanor asked about the practicality of that. The reality is that if there is a group who are being too noisy, I mean, you simply go over to them and discuss it with them. You possibly don't serve them more alcohol, and you sometimes ask them to either leave or to move. And that's really how you manage noise. It's also to do with where you position furniture in the garden. So we're very conscious of it, and it's something that will be managed very carefully and with a proper focus.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Okay, so that was our summaries. Rebecca, do you have any closing comments in your capacity as legal advisor to the panel?
Not really anything to add. I mean, as long as you've canvassed all possible conditions, I mean, one, it could be appropriate possibly to have a condition around monitoring noise levels in the garden. I don't know what you think about that, Emma, if the panel was minded to grant to have.
Yeah, I mean, that is something that there is on some licenses. You can suggest a number of occasions during the evening where you would go out and just check that people aren't causing a noise disturbance.
And what would the applicants think about that? If the panel felt it might be appropriate, I'm just canvassing.
How would that manifest itself?
Shall I just come in here? Some premises have conditions that say that the outdoor seating areas will be regularly monitored by staff.
To check noise levels or something.
To check the noise levels, and I mean, you can do it as you're collecting glasses, or, you know, because obviously something like that would be, you want to keep glasses cleared and tables cleared, so it's not too onerous a condition.
I mean, if it reflects existing practice, which it sounds like it would do from what you said, Tim, then
Yeah.
you know, I mean, as a condition, it sort of raises slightly the profile of the location of the premises and the neighbours, but and it sounds like it wouldn't add to your burdens necessarily.
I think
it's
we'll
being canvassed, and that's
we'll have staff will be constantly in the garden area, both serving food and retrieving glasses and clearing, and obviously part of their role is to keep an eye on customers. It's very difficult with licensed premises and exterior spaces to put a sort of measure on what is and what is not an acceptable level of noise. If there are two people out there speaking quietly, it's obviously a very different environment to if it's a very busy Friday night and there are 50 people all eating. So yes, we would be happy to be required to continually monitor that. I suppose the question is what does that actually mean in terms of the output from the monitoring? I mean, what we'll be seeking to ensure that noise levels are reasonable based on the number of people who are in the garden.
I don't want to go back into a debate about this. But I will take, as you put your hand up, Ellen, I'll take a comment from you, and then I think we're going to adjourn. So
thank you.
Go for it.
Yeah, I just want to, it was just more of a comment really, where it seems that the business owners, the applicants, are relying really heavily on having experienced trained staff in being able to monitor and control noise level. But then when this question comes up about monitoring the noise level in the garden, you're asking, the applicants are saying, well, how will staff know what is the appropriate level of noise? So if staff can't know the appropriate level of noise, then how are you relying on them to control the noise level? It just seems like there's a real conflict in what you're saying. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comment. All right, I think we'll end that there. Thanks for the canvas idea, Rebecca. We'll consider that, bearing in mind the comments that we heard after that, during that brief debate. So I think that ends the public panel. We're now going to retire to make our decision. We'll be accompanied by the legal advisor and the clerk to the panel, but they won't take any part in the decision-making process. And the decision will be sent in writing within 5 working days with appeal rights attached. So thank you all very much for attending today.
Thank you, Chairman.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Chair.